That's right. Sean, did you check in? Excuse me, Commissioner Frederickson? Okay, thank you. Oh, well, Commissioner Fisher, are you on? I see your name on here, but no video, so. Did you get a check in from him? Has he checked in?
Okay.
Commissioner Mankins, I don't see where you checked in, or if you did, just give us a thumbs up. Thank you. All right. So I guess Jim is here. Okay. Chief Executive Gallagher, I think you can, we know Bill's coming in, so
Okay.
go ahead, start.
All right. I'd like to call the Butte-Silver Bowl Council of Commissioners special meeting for Wednesday, March 24th, 2021 to order. Could we take roll call? Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. I'm thinking Jim, Commissioner Fisher is on. I don't see his video on. So at this time, it looks like we have 11 present and 1 absent.
11 present, 1 absent. Let be known that Commissioner Shea is excused for today. Commissioner Sorge, could you lead us in a prayer?
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. Almighty God, we implore you, look upon us and guide us this night as we make decisions which will greatly affect our community of Butte-Silver Bow. Direct our thoughts, words, and deeds so that we please you and best serve our fellow citizens. Amen.
Amen. All right. Move on to any public comment on any items on the agenda for tonight. Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. At this time, we don't have any written comments. I do have a couple at the end of the meeting, or not in this meeting. There are no comments that I can see, and I don't believe there's anything on the telephone. So I think we're good. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Moving on to the next item. Call for a special meeting. JP Gallagher, Chief Executive, is calling for a special meeting March 24th, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. The purpose of the meeting is for the Council of Commissioners concurrence with the Montana Department of Transportation contract to install the 36-inch line across I-15 and the Acellus contract and training for the IT department. We have 2 communications. First communication is Mark Neri, communication number 2021-142. Mark Neri, Public Works Director, requesting Council Commissioners concurrence and authorization for Chief Executive to sign an agreement between Butte-Silver Bow and the Department of Transportation for the I-15 crossing for the Big Hole transmission line. Do we have Director Neri available to comment?
Thank you, Chief Executive Gallagher, Commissioners. This contract between Butte-Silver Bow and MDT had to come forward because of the H&H I-15 project that we did last year. If you remember, H&H bid the project, we awarded it, gave them notice to proceed, and then MDT came forward and claimed that they needed a $500,000 bond. Well, they didn't know that going into the project. It would have been bid different. So we as Butte-Silver Bow got in the agreement with MDT that we would take on the responsibility because we had the contract with H&H. So that's why we're at where we're at today. I asked Chief Executive Gallagher to call the special meeting because H&H is able to start work on their contract between MDT and themselves April 1st. And we didn't want to sign our contract on April 7th. That's why we asked for the special meeting to get it signed tonight.
Thank you, Director Neri. Any questions to the commissioners? Commissioner O'Neill.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. One question for Mr. Neri is any liability for Butte-Silver Bow taking that responsibility?
I'm
Uh,
sorry, Commissioner O'Neill, to Commissioner, our Director Neary. You know what? I think should I call for a motion first? I think I misplaced here and then we have discussion. Am I correct?
No, you can go ahead and open up for discussion with the
Okay.
council members and then call for a motion.
Okay, all right. Sorry about that, Commissioner O'Neill.
It's okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, Chief Executive Gallagher. Commissioner O'Neill, yes, we're taking on the liability, but we, what did we do? We passed a resolution
To amend the water.
to amend the water bond. So we are taking on the liability, Commissioner O'Neill. But when the project was bid, if we would have had to go out and rebid the project again, the cost would have been, through the roof. So that's why we decided to go this way. That's what the change order from H&H last week that was on the agenda. That's what the change order was for that. So we just amended their contract with a change order, and then we're taking on the liability.
thank you, Director Neary. Commissioner Sarge.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. Mr. Neary, were there any other bids that came in that had that 500,000 that was aware of that would have changed the bidding amount? Do you know of?
Thanks, Commissioner Sarge. Director Neary.
Thank you, Chief Executive Gallagher. Commissioner Sorich, the $500,000 bond wasn't brought forward to any of the bidders. So no other bidders would have bid it that way.
Thank you, Director Neary.
Thank you, Mr. Neary.
Commissioner Anderson, I think I saw your hand up.
I was going to ask the same question about that 500 if it was originally part of the deal. If it wasn't, then I don't see any reason to hold up.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Anderson. Any other questions of commissioners? All right. I'll call for, Commissioner, or Director Neary.
Chief Executive Gallagher, Budget Director Gleason is on, and she's the one that kind of got everything rolling, might be able to clarify it a little better than I do.
Thank you, Director Neary. Director Gleason.
Yeah, Chief Executive Gallagher. So it's not a $500,000 add to any contract. It's a performance bond that Department of Transportation was requiring. And for the local government to go out and get a performance bond and hold it for a couple of years, it would have cost us probably around $50,000. And then Mark will still, either which way, he would have to be monitoring the project to make sure it was timely completed. And we're committed to that as well as the contractor. And so what we were able to do, and you passed a resolution a couple weeks ago in regards to this, and that's the resolution that Director Neary was discussing with you. We passed a resolution and sought bond council approval and MDT approval that we could reserve funds. So in the water division, you're going to see us reserving $500,000 for 2 years in a restricted investment account. So it'll be earning interest, but instead of paying money, we're going to be earning money on our money, which makes more sense. And we're very grateful that MTT allowed us to take that approach with them.
I think, does that sound about right?
Thank you, Director Gleason. Any other questions of the commissioners? Commissioner Anderson.
Thanks for doing that.
Commissioner Anderson, I think you're on mute.
There we go. Thank you. With that being said, what I'd like to do is make a motion to approve and place on file communication 2021-142.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve and place on file. Anything on the question?
Just a clarification, if you concur and place on file, not approve,
Yes,
but
concur.
Concur
you.
and place on file.
thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Mankins.
Thank you, Chief Executive Gallagher. I just got a message from Commissioner Fisher that he cannot get video or sound, so he's excusing himself for this evening. So just so we're not waiting on his vote.
Thank you, Commissioner Mankins.
Thank you. All right. Anything else on the question? With that, would commissioners please vote? Would anyone like to change their vote? And clerk, please record the vote.
We're still waiting for number. We have 10 yay and 0 nay.
10 yea, 0 nay, motion passes. Moving on to communication number 2021-143, Kathy Kennison, IT Manager, requesting Council of Commissioners concurrence and authorization for the Chief Executive to sign an agreement between Butte-Silver and the contract addendum to the Acela Sidwell Contract 19-328, signed July 18, 2019, and the assignment of Sidwell duties to Burn Software Technologies. Anything on the question? I guess Director Kennison, is she available?
JP, I'm on.
Okay, Director Gleason,
Yep.
if you'd like to.
Chief Executive Gallagher, also County Attorney Joyce helped us work on this. What happened in our Acela contract, that's the large community, mainly focused right now in planning and zoning, but we'll be rolling out across the government for citizen interaction, for getting permitting and whatnot. That project has been going on for about a year now. And the contractor that was responsible for the implementation of it is Sidwell. And they no longer have the project managers available, and we're not completing the deliverables. And they would like to subcontract with another entity called Burn. And we're very glad that they have. We think that we found a lot of success using Burn. And so County Attorney Joyce worked with us on these documents, so I'll let her jump in on the type of documents that you're seeing.
Thank you, Director Gleason. County Attorney Joyce.
You're on mute, Eileen.
I think you're on mute.
Thank you. Mr. Chief Executive, Commissioners, the documents that Kathy Kennison is requesting that the Chief Executive be authorized to sign include an addendum to the contract with Sidwell that allows them to assign their duties to another company. The original contract didn't have an authorization for assignment. So the first thing is to allow them, amend their contract to allow for an assignment. And the second document is the actual assignment that provides an agreement between Butte-Silver, Burn, and Sidwell to allow Burn to finish the deliverables in the original contract with Sidwell.
Thank you, County Attorney Joyce. Any of the commissioners have any questions? Seeing none, I'd ask for a motion. Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. At this time, I move to concur with Communication 2021-143 and place this on file.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to concur and place on file. Anything on the question? Could commissioners please vote? And would anyone like to change their vote? And clerk, could you please record the vote?
We have 10 yea, 0 nay.
10 yea and 0 nay. With that, this is the conclusion of the special meeting for March 24th, 2021. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Thumbs up and we can move on.
All right.
Thank you all. Motion passes.
Thank you, JP. So we'll just continue, just rolling right into the committee of the whole meeting. We don't need to do roll call. So I would invite everyone and welcome to our Butte-Silver Council of Commissioners Committee of the Whole meeting, Wednesday, March 24th. We have roll call has already occurred. We already had our prayer. Public comment on any items on the agenda. I will defer to our phone operator, see if there's any calls. just to read into the record, but not till the end of the meeting. Seeing none, we'll move to the report of the chair. Just a couple of things. First of all, there's no meeting next Wednesday, so if you show up, no one else will be there. Have a week off, which is kind of nice. So our next meeting is our regular meeting of April 7th. And I wanted you all to know that between the county, between the chief executive and the county attorney and Linda Sager in the clerk and recorder's office, and my vice chair, Sean Frederickson, we are in process of preparing to move back into an in-person meetings. We have decided it's time. We're going to do it carefully, make sure that we not only are safe ourselves, but that we can have the public come in and not hinder any ability for the public to make comments. So we're shooting for April 7th. That's what the plan is. You might see a little survey on your emails asking you to answer some questions about how you feel about it. I believe after Chief Executive Gallagher's press conference yesterday, we made it pretty clear that we're all going to do our due diligence to do what's right and what's best for ourselves and for our neighbors. And we do believe, and I believe Chief Executive Gallagher would agree, that we can probably all sit in our seats with masks and also take them off when we speak. A lot of us are already vaccinated, and I really encourage anybody that hasn't been to do so. But that's the tentative plan. I just want you all to know that we might be able to get back to some normalcy in our meetings. So I'll keep you apprised of that. All right, moving on. Section 1, bid openings, public hearings and or presentations. Bid opening number 1 is communication number 2021-107. Mark Neary, Public Works Director, requesting Council of Commissioners authorization to schedule a bid opening for March 24th, 2021 for the 2021 Roads Mill Fill Project. This project will mill fill streets in Uptown Butte, including West Platinum, Colorado, and Dakota streets. First of all, do we have proof of publication? County Attorney Joyce?
Madam Chair, there is proof of publication, and it does appear to be in order.
Thank you. Okay, the floor is yours, Mr. Neary.
Madam Chair, thank you, Commissioners. We've received 3 bids for the project. The first one is from H&H Contracting in Butte.
And Madam Chair, there is a bid bond in the amount of 10% from a licensed surety company that appears to be in order.
Thank you. Mr. Neary?
Madam Chair, the total for this project is $314,902.40. $314,902.40. Madam Chair, we had 3 addendums also on this, so there is another total.
Okay,
Um,
Mr. Neary?
The total was $421,996.20. $421,996.20.
And that was with the addendum.
Yep.
Thank you.
With the three, there was 3 alternates on it.
Okay.
Madam Chair, the second bid is from Hoffman's R&M Services. Yep, from Butte.
Thank you. County Attorney Joyce?
Madam Chair, there is a bid bond in the amount of 10% from a licensed surety company that appears to be in order.
Madam Chair, the first total is 325,186.50. 325,186.50. And with the alternates, it's 437,468.30. 437,468.30.
Okay, thank you.
Our third bid is from Gilman Construction in Butte.
County Attorney Joyce?
Madam Chair, there is a bid bond from a licensed surety company in the amount of 10% that does appear to be in order.
Okay,
Madam Chair, the first total is 313,368.35. 313,368.35. And the second total is 412,910.90. 412,910.90.
thank you. And does that conclude the bids?
Yes.
Any questions from council members? Commissioner Anderson?
Could you repeat the first bid from Gilman? I never got the last part of it. Thank you.
Director Neary?
Madam Chair, 313,368.35.
Any other questions on this bid? Thank you. Mr. Neary, I assume that's the conclusion of the bids?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay. Commissioner Frederickson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to refer to the Public Works Department and wait for their report back to this council.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to refer these bids back to the Public Works Department and await their response back to council with their recommendation. Is there anything on the question? Would everyone please vote? Would anyone care to change their vote? Would the clerk please record the vote? We're missing one. John Reardon, Commissioner Reardon, did you vote? Just give me a thumbs up.
Yes, I did, and it's submitted. It must be something
Okay.
crazy. All
So
right,
then we have 10 yay and 0 nay. Thank you.
correct.
All right, moving on to, and the motion passes. Moving on to section, well, the next item is a public hearing, communication number 2021-114. This is Eric Hessler, Reclamation and Environmental Services Director, requesting Council of Commissioners authorization to schedule a public hearing on March 24th, 2021 to take public comment on amending the fiscal year 2021 ARCO source area and stormwater budget. I won't read the number. The source of revenue is from the Allocation Agreement Source Area Programs Trust between BSB and Atlantic Richfield. I was just advised this evening by Director Gleason that the public hearing, the actual publications were submitted correctly, but the Montana Standard made a mistake and it wasn't correctly published on the second week. So we will have to wait to get the new revised communication with the new public hearing date of April 21st. So we will end up placing this communication on file, awaiting the new communication. So Commissioner Frederickson, I threw you a curveball there. Something new.
Well, so I guess I have a pointed question for you, Madam Chair. So Communication number 2021-114 is this communication. Do we wait to put it on file then, or?
No, I would request that we place this one on file and we start all over again with the new date. That's what I was.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we note and place this on file and await the new communication for April
21st.
21st.
And you need to read the communication, please.
Oh, yeah, communication number 2021-114.
Do we have a second? I hear you. I see you, Eric. Do we have a second? And on the question, Commissioner Mankins.
Madam Shaw, so whose fault was it that it's going to be pushed back to the 26th? Because I didn't quite hear that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I understood that the Montana Standard received it correctly, but they incorrectly, they didn't publish the second week correctly, and I could defer to Danette because she gave me that advice just this evening. So I'll ask Director Gleason if she could explain it.
Yeah, Madam Chair, Shaw, Commissioner Mankins, that I just spoke with Eric Hassler and we have all the emails and documentation and supporting information that he did submit it appropriately to the Montana Standard for publication on March 14th and March 21st. The proof of publication that County Attorney Joyce has had a 14,21/2021 on it, but at the bottom, it only shows it appeared one time on March 14th. So we went to the newspaper, on actual physical newspaper on the 21st, and it was not correctly published. So we're going to have to restart the process. Eric will work with the Montana Standard to seek a refund for the March 14th one, and then we'll move forward.
Commissioner Mankins, follow up?
So none of this is time sensitive then with anything?
Ms. Gleason?
Yep, Madam Chair, Commissioner Mankins. No, we verified that with Director Hassler, and he was fine. He did say, he would like to get it done sometime before the first part of May, but we'll be close to that time frame, so we should be fine.
Follow up, Commissioner Mankin? Nope. Okay. Any other questions? So we have a motion and a second. Anything further on the question? Would everyone please vote? Would anyone care to change their vote? Will the clerk please record the vote? We have 10 yay and 0 nay. Motion passes. Okay. Section 2, communications number 1, communication number 2021-107. Mark Neary, Public Works Director, requesting Council of Commissioners authorization to schedule a bid opening for March 24th, 2021 for the 2021 Roads Mill Fill Project. This project will mill fill the street in Uptown Butte, including West Platinum, Colorado, and Dakota streets. We just had that bid opening. So Commissioner Frederickson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to place communication 2021-107 on file.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to place communication 2021-107 on file. Is there anything on the question? Would everyone please vote? Would anyone care to change their vote? Would the clerk please record the vote? 10 yea, 0 nay, motion passes.
That doesn't make sense.
Item number 2, I heard you, Eileen. Communication number 2021-112. Mark Neary, Public Works Director, requesting Council of Commissioners authorization to schedule a bid opening for March 16th, 2021 for a backhoe for the Water Utility Division. We did have that bid opening last week. Commissioner Frederickson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to place communication 2021-112 on file.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to place communication 2021-112 on file. Is there anything on the question? Would everyone please vote? Anyone care to change their vote? Clerk, please record the vote. Ten yea and 0 nay. Motion passes. Item 3 is just a repeat of what we just did with the public hearing. So I will move on to item 4. Communication 2021-125, Michael and Kelly Ann Hoven, 241 Williams Street, Walkerville, Montana, requesting Council of Commissioners concurrence to purchase a 10-acre parcel of vacant land owned by Butte-Silver Bow. We would like to survey and purchase the portion that includes our driveway and the adjacent property formerly owned by the Wyatts. This has been moved to the Land Sales Committee for their review and their response back to us. So we will continue to hold that in abeyance. Moving on to item 5, communication number 2021-126. Kristen Rosa, Tiffin Administrator, requesting Council of Commissioners authorization to schedule a bid opening on April 7th, 2021 for the Port of Montana / Montana Connections Rail Expansion Project. We will hold that in abeyance until April 7th. Communication 6 is 2021-127. Kristen Rosa, Tiffin Administrator, requesting Council of Commissioners authorization to schedule a bid opening on April 7th, 2021 for the Sugarloaf Loop Construction Project in Montana Connections. Again, we will hold that in abeyance until April 7th. Item 7 is communication number 2021-131. Ed Lester, Butte-Silver Bow Sheriff, requesting Council of Commissioners concurrence and authorization for the Chief Executive to sign the Memorandum of Understanding, the MOU, between Butte-Silver Bow and the Southwest Montana Drug Task Force. I spoke with Sheriff Lester today, and he is not ready to go forward this just yet. He's still getting some information on the MOU. So he asked that we please hold this in abeyance for another 2 weeks, and we will do that. I don't know if there's any questions about that one. Item 8, communication number 2021-132, James N. Manning, Greenway Management Chairperson, requesting Council of Commissioners concurrence and authorization for the Butte-Silver Bow local government to accept the transfer of real property, Tract A of Certificate of Survey 1079A-RB for the Silver Bow Creek Greenway project in preparation of a resolution of transfer acceptance. That has also been moved over to the Land Sales Committee for their review and recommendation back to the council. We'll continue holding that. And item 9 is communication 2021-133. Gary Shea, broker owner of Shea Realty, requesting Council of Commissioners concurrence and authorization for a 1-year extension of the conditional approval of the amended Platt Buffalo Estates Temporary Open Space Phase 1. I see Lori Casey is still on our WebEx today. I believe this was sent to the planning department. Lori, is there anything that you want to add other than just having us continue to hold this?
Madam Chair, members of the council, Gary Shea is the developer of this amended plat. It was a minor subdivision. One of his requirements as a condition of approval was to do fire mitigation. He had chosen to do fire sprinklers in the homes when they were constructed. Part of that requirement is also to have another type of fire source. The original Buffalo Estates, while not required to have a pond, was in the process of constructing a pond. Mr. Shea was going to work with the owner of the first subdivision to work with them to both develop the pond, as it would benefit all of the homes out in that area. However, he has been unsuccessful of getting that owner to do a cost share analysis or a cost share on the pond. So he has made the decision to go ahead and fund that and construct the pond himself. However, his preliminary plat was good for 3 years. He's a bit over, I think it was a couple months when he submitted this communication. So he is asking for a 1-year extension. Nothing has changed out in that area that would cause any different conditions of the preliminary plat that was approved.
Thank you, Lori. Any questions for Ms. Casey on this communication? And seeing none, Lori, would you recommend that we approve this? I mean, without knowing any more details, but it looks, in your opinion, it passed muster as far as that goes.
Madam Chair, yes, we would recommend that Mr. Shea is granted the 1-year extension. We can, if the council so wants, we can draft the extension for everyone to sign as you did in the other extensions that you've done.
Any other further questions from council? I would entertain a motion. Commissioner Frederickson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to place communication 2021-113 on file.
And do we want to hold it in the committee of the whole, awaiting the form that we need to sign? Lori, would that be the appropriate thing to do?
Madam Chair, that probably would be the best.
Okay,
And
I'll
we'll
amend my
get that to
motion.
you.
Thank you. Commissioner Frederick?
Yeah, I'll amend my motion to keep communication 2021-113 in the committee of the whole upon here receiving the document to sign. Is that
Okay.
right?
You're concurring and then you're asking to keep it in the committee of the whole.
Okay, I'll concur and keep it in the committee of the whole.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Anything on the question, Commissioner O'Neill?
Thank you, Madam Chair. My question is just, wouldn't we place this on file to approve and then sign? Just a question, for education. Because we're
Commissioner-
approving that it's okay for the extension. Are we taking another step? I'm just asking, confused.
Commissioner O'Neill, I think that it's just so that we know it's still pending, it's coming back and be a placeholder so that we know that we're expecting this document to come back to us to sign. I suppose it's at the pleasure of the council if you'd prefer. I'm going to defer again back to Ms. Casey to see that, what she thinks about that. Holding it in the committee of the whole until we get the document to sign. And then Commissioner Callahan. Lori?
Madam Chair, I think it's whatever the council would like to do. The extension usually goes on the date that everyone signs. So it does need all commissioners to sign as well as the developer. We can have that prepared and submit it for your April 7th meeting.
Commissioner Callahan? I'm sorry. Commissioner
Thank you,
Callahan.
Chairman. Ms. Casey, I just had a question. Sorry I didn't ask earlier. My camera was locked up, but you had mentioned the pond, and this pond, is this for fire protection? Is that the idea of making them put the pond in?
Madam Chair, Commissioner
Casey.
Callahan, yes, that's correct. It is for, they have to meet certain types of fire mitigation when they're out in the rural. And so that is what the pond is for, is to meet that requirement.
Okay, thank you.
Any further question? Commissioner Reardon.
Yes, I just have thank you, Madam Chair. I just have a question for Lori. Is there any kind of time frame for any of these subdivisions on these extensions? It seems like we're climbing up in years here and all that. I mean, it's none of my business, that's your business and all that, but this is, I believe you said, is in its 4th year of development now. Is that correct?
Ms. Casey?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Reardon, that is correct. By state law, they have 3 years that a preliminary plat is approved. So they have 3 years to get their conditions done and submit for final plat approval. They are requesting an extension of 1 year. The extensions and the number of years that an extension for is up to the local government and as you as the Council of Commissioners.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll restate the motion that we will concur with communication 2021-113 and hold this in the committee of the whole pending the document that we will be signing. If that's okay, we have a motion and a second to do that. Is there anything further on the question? All right, would everyone please vote? Puppy. Would anyone care to change their vote? Will the clerk please record the vote? 10 yea and 0 nay. Motion passes. At this time, we have public comment on any public matter not on the agenda. Calls are certainly welcome to be made to our 497-5009 number. I do have 2 letters to read into the record. At this time, we don't have any calls. So the first letter is from Bob Worley, 3405 Wharton Street in Butte. To Butte-Silver Council of Commissioners, dear Commissioners, I am writing this letter in regard to a decision by the Historic Preservation Board and appointed board of the Butte-Silver government. I would ask the Commissioners to approve a request of the applicant Jennifer Mitchell, 2509 State Street, Butte, Montana, in the Floral Park addition to tear down and remove the vacant house of which she is owner at 2505 State Street, Butte, Montana. The removal of this property has been held up by the Historic Preservation Council, HPC, and Mary McCormick, employee of BSB, as being a potential historic property should the Floral Park area ever be designated as a historic district. I believe that the owner of the above stated property should be able to make the decision as to the disposition or use of the said property within reason. I do not want to see the HPC have the authority to run roughshod over property owners in this Floral Park area or any other areas in Butte. I am in agreement with the HPC and its director to protect historic buildings in Butte, Montana. However, I believe the effort should be contained in properties in the Uptown Business District and/or north of the Northern Pacific Railroad near Front Street. HPC can hopefully use more common sense in making decisions in their efforts. Don't hold Butte property owners hostage. Let's develop Butte to be a better place economically to live and to raise a family. Bob Worley. And the second comment to be read into the record is from Eldon Beal. He's over on Dakota Street in Butte. Chief Executive Gallagher, Madam Chair, Cindy Shaw, and Council of Commissioners. First, I'd like to express my disappointment of not only the Council of Commissioners, Chief Executive, County Attorney's Office, and Parks and Recreation. For some reason, I think everyone is missing the point of my communication 2021-97, especially Action Inc., which blew it all out of proportion. It is prudent in the health and safety of our neighborhood, citizens, high school students, and any other people who want to use and enjoy Emma Park for recreational and cultural events, etc. The scope of Chapter 12.08, Use of Public Parks, and the purpose is to provide standards, requirements, rules, and regulations for the protection, use, and enjoyment of public parks in the city and county of Butte-Silver Bow. The biggest problem is that Butte-Silver Bow isn't following 12.08.110 applicable law, which states, all statutes of Montana and all ordinances of the city and county apply in parks except when modified therein. The issue with Action Inc. handing out food in a public park could be considered concessions. How sanitary is this? Do they have soap and water to wash their hands, etc.? There are no restrooms and they're serving food. Who regulates their food handling? What about germs, cross-contamination? Thank you, Eldon Beal. And that concludes the comments to be read into the record. And I believe that concludes our meeting tonight. Is there anything else to come before us? Otherwise, have a great week off next week, and I'll see you next month in April. Hopefully we'll be in person, and I'll certainly keep you up to date on that. So thanks, everybody. We
Good
can I have
night.
a motion to adjourn.
Don't we need to a motion to
A
adjourn?
motion to adjourn. Thank
I'll
you,
make a motion
Commissioner.
to adjourn.
Do we have a second? All right. We have a motion to adjourn. Everyone in favor? Aye. All right. Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Cheers.